Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regular council meeting for October 18th, 2021 for the City of Dauphin. We acknowledge that the land on which we gather is Treaty 2 land, traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Assiniboine, Dakota, and Dene peoples and homeland of the Métis Nation. We affirm our commitment to moving forward in partnership with Indigenous communities in a spirit of collaboration and reconciliation. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Juba. Be it resolved that the regular council meeting agenda, be amended as follows. Additions 9C, the resignation of Councillor Reel, and 9D, council vacancy. And you can delete 10A, the bylaw 07-21 being a bylaw of the City of Dauphin to amend zoning bylaw 04/2015 regulating the use and development of land, part of 100 Cruz Crescent RMF to CM, second and third readings. Any questions or comments? Call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved, the council accepts the regular council meeting agenda as amended. Any questions there? Call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that council waives the reading and accepts and approves as circulated the minutes of the following meeting, that from October 4th, 2021, the regular council meeting. Any questions or comments regarding those minutes? And seeing none, I'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Whereas the Municipal Act, Section 162 states each member of council. Okay, we don't need that. Yeah, you're right. Sorry about that. We'll skip that. Ignore what I just said. Moved by Councillor Stakilo, seconded by Councillor Eilers. Be it resolved that council now adjourns to hear the public hearing as scheduled. Call the questions on this unless there are any. And all in favor? Motion carried. Just a quick rundown of the public hearing participants for the rezoning application for part of 100 Cruz Crescent. The registered ones joining on Microsoft Teams. I see Carrie Fillion. Hello, Carrie. Hope you're having a good night. I know it's a depressing day for you because golf season is over. Murray Hawkes, MKH Ventures Incorporated. I do not see him there, so I'll just put it next here. Attending in person, Milton. How do I say your last name? Because that's a big one. Mikulishin, Milton Mikulishin, resident of St. George's Ukrainian Orthodox Seniors Residence, and Bob Yasuk, right? Attending as well. Council will now commence to hear representations from the applicant and any other persons who wish to make representation for this scheduled public hearing. Anyone who has not yet registered but wishes to make a presentation for the public hearing, please state your name so we can add you to our registration list. Bob, I added you already. So if there's anyone else here that wants to be registered, it doesn't look like it. So we are good. We will now proceed with the public hearing for rezoning application 1208-374250/RZ. -21-01/02 for owner St. George's Ukrainian Orthodox Seniors Resident Incorporated, care of Gerald Detishin, and applicant MKH Ventures Incorporated, care of Murray Hawkes, for part lot 2, SP Plan 2972 DLTO. That's part of 100 Cruz Crescent, from residential multiple family RMF to commercial mixed, which is CM. To allow for future subdivision and expansion of the existing commercial site located at 1212 Main Street South to comply with the City of Dauphin zoning bylaw. I guess would the applicant like to speak in favor of the application?
Can you hear me, Christian?
You're good, Carrie. Go ahead.
Yeah, just nothing further to add other than I think we spoke at the last hearing that we're just in need of some extra room and we want to grow business is growing and we need a little more space, and I think it benefits both parties is really all I wanted to add to the table.
Okay, thanks, Kerry. Does council have any questions of the applicant? Okay, seeing none. Is there any person present in support of this application who wishes to speak? Is there any person present who wishes to speak in objection to this application? And again, does council have any questions to the presenter? I'm assuming no. Is there anyone else who wishes to make a presentation on this application? Okay. This public hearing is recessed until November 15th, 2021, as we are awaiting response from community planning. So that's it. That's pretty straightforward. Okay. Moved by Councillor Eiler, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that council now reconvenes to the regular council meeting. No questions or comments. I'll call the questions. All in favor in that. Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Eiler, seconded by Councillor Juba. Be it resolved that the public hearing for rezoning application 1208-374250/RZ-21-01/02 for owner St. George's Ukrainian Orthodox Senior Residence, care of Gerald Petition, and applicant MKH Ventures Incorporated, care of Murray Hawkes, for the rezoning of Part Lot 2, SP Plan 2972 DLTO, part of 100 Cruz Crescent, from residential multiple family to commercial mixed, to allow for future subdivision and expansion of the existing commercial site located at 1212 Main Street South, to comply with the City of Dauphin zoning bylaw, be recessed until November 15th, 2021. Any questions or comments?
Question.
Go ahead, Councillor Bellemare.
Okay, when we're talking about community planning, we're talking about the provincial organization. Yeah, so because this decision is not just about what we do in Dauphin, the province is also involved. So that's why there's a delay, just so people are aware of what's happening. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. I know council can be extremely riveting and exciting to be a part of, but if you wish, Carrie, if you have to go, and same with you two, if you want to stick around, you're free to do so, but you can leave as well. So whatever works. But thanks for coming, though, for sure. Yeah.
Thanks, Christian. I'm going to go coach hockey now.
Okay. Have fun. Stay warm.
See you guys.
Thanks, gentlemen. Moved by Councillor Eiler, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that council accepts this information, the presentation by Cameron Abry, Fire Chief of the City of Dauphin. You look excited to be here, Cam.
I always am.
Perfect.
Good evening and thank you. It's been quite a while since the last presentation. I think it was sometime last year. I don't think that there has been a presentation this year. So everybody's in receipt of the presentation, and I'll just briefly go through a few things there. And if anybody has any questions, please feel free to stop me and ask. Our emergency response review from January 1 to September 30th, we have so far, well, we're over that 149 now, but that was to the end of September. And that same time period last year was 120 response, so we've had a 24% increase in our call volume. The top 4 categories you can see in the graphic below: the false alarms, kitchen fires, false alarms, outdoor fires, motor vehicle incidents, and kitchen fires being our top 4. A brief breakdown as to where those calls have happened. 116 were within the city limits, totaling 2,971 hours. And 30 rural response, totaling 1,303.5 hours. So although it's only 20% of our call volume in the RM, it has been 30% of our total hours spent on calls in the RM. So those calls do take a bit longer than our incidents that happen within the city limits. 3 of our calls have been mutual aid response. One was up to Ethelbert for a heavy truck rescue. It was a semi that flipped over and they needed assistance with the extrication there. And I believe the other 2 were to the Arma Lakeshore for Oka River properties. That totaled 118 hours between those 3 incidents. Going into a further breakdown, we've had 43 false alarms. 2 of those were within the RM and Dauphin. Our outdoor fires, which we classify as grass, brush, dumpsters, hydro transformers or branches in the lines. We've had 30 of those, 17 in the RM for grass or brush, and 4 involving hydro lines or hydro transformers. So a total of 21 of the 30 were in the RM, 9 of them within the city. Motor vehicle collisions, we classify them all as city response because those are eventually submitted to Manitoba Public Insurance to try and get some claim back on those. All of our kitchen fires were within the city of Dauphin, that was 14. Our structure fires, we had 13 thus far, 3 of those occurring within the RM. Vehicle fires, 10 in total, with 4 occurring in the RM. Our other category is kind of a catch-all for water rescue, hazardous materials, EMS assist. So sometimes EMS services call upon the fire department to do a lift assist. And we had 6 of those, 5 carbon monoxide alarms, and again, 3 mutual aid assists. So the top calls, the top 3 anyway, false alarms, outdoor fires, and motor vehicle collisions. This is the first year in quite a while where our outdoor fires actually exceeded the number of motor vehicle collisions. And you could see that this year was extremely dry as compared to the past number of years. And that's where we're lying that on, is that it's just a dry conditions. Yes, sir.
Just might as well do it now because you're talking about it. But you talk about the outdoor fires. Where is it more significant? Is it in the spring or is it in the fall?
Typically in the spring when everybody's trying to do a cleanup. This year, however, it was kind of split right down the middle. It really didn't fall as to spring or fall. It seems like it's almost even with the amount of calls that we had. So the larger calls, though, I can say were this fall rather than in the spring. The springtime calls, there weren't as many hours dedicated to those calls as there was for the fall. Any questions on call response?
Yes, Councillor Eilers, go ahead.
I wanted to ask, did it seem that there was a lot more in July and August during the real dry?
No, actually, April is when it exploded for us.
Okay.
For the outdoor fires. I don't have a breakdown as to how many per month, but our RM calls, we had a couple in January, and I believe they're both structure fires, and then nothing in February and March at all in the RM. But then April, there was quite a volume of grass fires, continued on throughout the summer, but that was between April and September. Those were the 2 months that had the largest volume. I think everybody was scared in July and August of how dry it actually was, and they were super cautious. So, any other questions regarding the incident response before we move on to training? All right. At the beginning of the year, as you're aware, all of our training in the entire province was put on pause due to the COVID restrictions that were in place. However, once they're eased, we got back into the swing of things, and we had several members attend the Emergency Services College in Brandon for their practical exams. So Tyler Avery, Brendan Boguslawski, and Evan Butler were able to complete their level 2 firefighting. And it's important to note that both Brendan and Evan are kind of two-hatters. Brendan is a part of the Arma Lakeshore Oka River Fire Department and the Dauphin Fire Department. And Evan Butler is a member of Dauphin Fire as well as Gilbert Plains Fire Department. We did have the remainder of those that were testing that we talked about last fall. One from Oka River that tested for their level 2 and 2 from Oka River that tested for their level 1. So all of their practical exams were completed successfully first try, and we have some that are still finishing up their written exams before they receive their gold seal from IFSAC and Pro Board. The last time that I presented to council, we also discussed a variety of seminars that we're hoping to host in 2021 in order for members to complete the driver operator program. Over the summer, starting in April actually, we hosted the Pumps Basic seminar. We had 12 students participate in that. And then in June, we moved to the Pumps Advanced seminar, and we had another 12 individuals participate in that. And then the Emergency Vehicle Driving Skills, a third component of that program, over the August 20 to 22nd weekend. So through those three, we have 10 members that were able to take part in all three components, and they're ready to take their practical and written exams for the NFPA 1002 standard for fire apparatus driver operator professional qualifications, long title. We are working with the program manager from the Emergency Services College to try and bring the exam to Dauphin, because I really don't want to send 10 of our driver operators outside of the protection area for exams in case there's an incident. They asked if we could send 5 in the morning, 5 in the afternoon. I said there's still that 2-hour transition of driving back and forth where we would miss out. And so now we've come up with this idea of hopefully we can have the exams here. We do have sufficient equipment in order to host it. And it's one of the first times that it would be held off of the college property in Brandon. So the written exams, thanks to the superintendent and assistant superintendent with the Mountain View School Division, they've both become our proctors for all written exams, and we have had many written exams for firefighters from across the mutual aid district actually doing exams there. So it's been a great addition to the program. Some other upcoming training includes rescue practices. It's a seminar that we're hoping to, or will be hosted. I found out it's been confirmed for the first weekend in November. This is a program that helps develop the skills for low angle rope rescue, something that we have encountered several times here in our protection area. And we have been looking at our risk in the area and with a few users at the Northgate Trail system and seeing how the trail can become soft and there's some pretty sharp drop-offs. We've been working with some volunteers up there on their signage and how to contact emergency services in the event of something happening. And we just want to bring more of our department up because there has been a turnover in the people that were trained. Bring this back to the forefront. We've been doing some work over the summer that I'm not sure if anybody of the public has seen, but we've been over at Barker Hill working with our rope assemblies. I know one counselor had some questions about that, saw them out there working. So we're trying to do some refreshers, and we have one instructor that will be the lead on that coming from the Emergency Services College, and it's another one of the courses that I teach as a contract instructor for the college, so I'm able to assist on that. We've also requested to host the Fire Department Safety Officer Seminar to bring it back to Dauphin. Originally, we had been designated as the location for the pilot program when they resurrected this course. It was supposed to be held in November of 2020, but we had to alter our plans to February 2021. We had 12 members of Dauphin Fire that were able to take part. And the college has made some adjustments based on the feedback that was received from the participants. So we've now requested, and I got confirmation this morning, November 19th to 21st, we'll be hosting that and opening the class to the other 10 fire departments within Riding Mountain Mutual Aid District, as well as Swan Valley and Lake Winnipegosis Mutual Aid Districts. And hopefully the COVID restrictions don't prevent that from happening again, and we're able to get this training pushed through. We've also confirmed that we'll be hosting the Fireground Management Seminar December 10th to 12th with registration open again to all 3 of the aforementioned mutual aid districts. This is a program, it's 20 hours, open to all members of emergency services, fire departments that kind of give them the necessary skills to organize and manage fireground operations under emergency stressful conditions. We take some buildings out of the communities that they come from, images from Google Earth, and give them scenarios that they have to work through as a group as to where they would get their water source, how much water they need for fire protection, and all the other stuff that they actually have to calculate in their head under duress. There was another course that we submitted for recently as well, the Working Minds First Responder Mental Wellness Program for Emergency Services. And we put in a request for that to be held in January. There are two different levels of it. One is a primary that's designed for the firefighters, and one is a leadership that's designed for the officers. We were able to host one of these back in February again, but we had to limit it to Dauphin Fire only. We couldn't go beyond because of our cohort at the time. And now we're hoping to open this up to other departments in the area, so it offers them the opportunity where they don't have to travel to Brandon to take the training. If there's no questions on training. Okay.
Councillor Eilers, go ahead.
You mentioned here open to class members from the Riding Mountain. So where is the one in Riding Mountain? Is it in the Riding Mountain National Park?
No, we're known as the Riding Mountain Mutual Aid District.
All of
the province of Manitoba is divided into 17 mutual aid districts for fire departments. There's 11 fire departments within Riding Mountain Mutual Aid, which are Inglis, Roblin, Grandview, Gilbert, Dauphin, Oka River, St. Rose, Laurier, Sifton, Ethelbert, and Pine River. And then there's
that's what I somebody told me that, and I thought Pine River and Riding Mountain, like, it just didn't make sense.
And then there's the Swan Valley Mutual Aid District.
Yes.
There's 8 departments up there. Lake Winnipegosis District has 7 departments, I believe, up there. So we're hoping to open it up to all of those.
So that's quite a large number. What would be the total?
12 is the maximum that we can have,
okay.
Just under restrictions right now. Some of these courses are typically open to maximum 20 participants, but because of current restrictions, 12 is our max. So.
That would mean some wouldn't be able to attend if they wanted to, just because of the number limited?
Correct, yeah. It's a first come, first served basis.
And and if you had people on the waiting list, would you run another one?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was impressed that you were able to rip off all 11 of those without even looking at a list.
I can't remember my son's birthdays, but I can name every department in the district. How's that sound?
Councillor Stakilo.
Thank you for that. Just a question on the training, or more of a comment on the training. It's just every time you give a presentation, it's just great to see the your ability to host training events here and your persuasion of the departments to come to Dauphin to hold those sessions here. And I just like that you've been able to have those discussions with the Emergency Services College to bring yet another program that hasn't left the college before on the driver operator program. So just a kudos to you on that, and always looking for something else. And even in the times of cohort restrictions, COVID restrictions and everything, you were still able to get the training done and move forward with that, even though it wasn't the easiest to navigate. So thank you for that. I do have one question, and I'll just ask it now to save time at the end, I guess. Just in terms of recruitment numbers and stuff, it's always a question. How's the fire membership complement right now? I know you typically always are looking for members, but how are things at the present time?
I should have brought a recruitment package for you. How's that? We are unfortunately down in numbers again. We have had some interested individuals approach the department. We had one member that signed up, started into the training, and then accepted a job in Snow Lake. So we're going to try and work with that, because they are working 2 weeks in, 2 weeks out, and see how that plan works. We did that before with some individuals that went west to the oil fields, where they're working 2 weeks in, 2 weeks out. And it worked for a while. It all depends on somebody's personal schedule. But again, I believe we still have 4 open spots in order to hit our 36 complement, according to the bylaw. And it was a very tight summer for a number of firefighters that we did have. We do run the weekend standby, where we try to maintain 12 members in town at all times, because everybody's scheduling family events and vacation, etc., wanting to enjoy the weather and the golf courses, etc. Most of our weekends ran with either 10 or 11 firefighters, and the option of knowing that if there was something, we had mutual aid that we could rely upon. And it was evident this summer when we were called by Gilbert Plains to provide mutual aid for them. And at the same time is when the call came in for the Ethelbert rollover with the semi. Both events happened the same day. So when I said we had 2 that went to Oquirrh River, 1 to Oquirrh, 1 to Gilbert, 1 to Ethelbert. So my mistake. There was a second one to Oquirrh River just last week. So that's where the 2 from Oquirrh came from. But yeah, so if you know of anybody looking, tell them to give me a phone call. That's right.
Just one more, Councillor Bellemare.
Thank you. I'm in awe of the educational opportunities you provide for the members, and not only for the members of Dauphin Fire Department, but for the region. I think it's a wonderful gift for the whole region that these opportunities are there. You had mentioned Northgate Trails, and I just wanted to point out that I've been on these trails, I don't know, many times in the last 3 years, and I hate to say that it was about a month ago that I realized that on those trail markers that they actually have the latitude and longitude numbers.
Correct.
So that if you end up in trouble, you can say I'm at, and it's right there on the trail marker that I finally know are there. So in case people are watching, just so they know that. And I'll just ask one other question. I was behind you at a stoplight this morning, and the back of your truck says that we're supposed to stay like 50 meters back. Is that at stoplights, or could you explain that? Because I'm sure other people have been parked behind you and go, okay, what does that mean?
It's on the back of most of our trucks. It's something that we recently started. And it's really, we had an issue with people pulling up behind the fire trucks at emergency scenes. So when you're trying to access ladders or equipment or anything else, you do need the distance in order to access the equipment. But not only that, if you had to turn around and get out of that area. So it's when the emergency lights are activated is when that really comes into play. So, yeah.
Anything else?
All right. So I'd wrap up.
Go ahead.
Okay. So that is our January 1 to September 30 stats and information for you. And I would like to thank council and administration for your support on our recognition evening that we were finally able to host back in August. Some of those awards were going back to November of last year for the Firefighters Ball. And for those that sent their regrets, thank you for that as well. But it was there was a lot of comment from the firefighters that it was very appreciated to see the faces of our elected officials and administration there as well. That's about all I have. One other thing that just came out today, I guess, as well, is in lieu of the Firefighters Ball, because there was a question about that. We are not having an actual in-person Firefighters Ball. We are following the same process as last year with our association, where it will be a meal delivery, and tickets, I believe, went on sale this morning. So.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks very much, Cam, for coming in. Any more questions? I should mention just before. No. Okay. I think I speak for pretty much everyone when I say thanks for everything you do in our community. And yeah, get your tickets for the great meal. Are you going with Irving's again? Yeah. Okay. So with Irving's, so you know it's going to be a really good meal.
And it's a Ukrainian planner.
And it's a Ukrainian planner. So perfect. And the same deal stands for you as well. I know you love being at council meetings. You may leave now if you want, but we're going to continue on. So thanks again.
Have a good evening. Thank you.
No more questions, so I'll just make the motion. All in favor of Fire Chief's report? And motion carried. Moved by Councillor Stakilo, seconded by Councillor Eilers. Be it resolved that all items listed under item 5 consent agenda be approved as follows and form part of these minutes. 5A, action items. Number 1, proclamation. That would be World Polio Day. And I shall read that proclamation right now. Whereas Rotary is a global network of 1.2 million neighbors, friends, leaders, and problem solvers who see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change in communities across the globe. And whereas in 1985, Rotary launched Polio Plus, and in 1988 helped to establish the Global Polio Eradication Initiative, which today includes the World Health Organization, U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, UNICEF, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to immunize the children of the world against polio. And whereas polio cases have dropped by 99.9% since 1988, and the world stands on the threshold of eradicating the disease, that thanks in large part to Rotary's contribution of more than $1.9 billion and countless volunteer hours to protect more than 2.5 billion children in 122 countries. And whereas on August 25th, 2020, the World Health Organization declared the African region to be free of wild polio virus, an incredible achievement worth celebrating after decades-long commitment by Rotarians, their partners, and millions of healthcare workers and supporters. And whereas Rotary is working to raise an additional $50 million per year, which would be leveraged for maximum impact by an additional $100 million annually from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And whereas these efforts are providing much needed operational support, medical staff, laboratory equipment, and educational materials in the fight for a polio-free world. Now, therefore, we, the Council of the City of Dauphin, do hereby proclaim October 24th, 2021 as World Polio Day. And that as recommended by the Deputy Mayor and the City Manager. Continuing on with the consent agenda items, 5. Number 2, the outstanding water account added to taxes, just one, and be it resolved that the following water account be added to taxes. That is 325 Kirby Avenue West, $32.72. The current owner did not pay the final utility bill, and that is recommended by the Director of Finance and the Utility Clerk. 5B, filing items. Number 1, Association of Manitoba Municipalities 23rd Annual Fall Convention, Parkland Directors Update for October 2021, News Bulletin for October the 8th, Member Advisories, RCMP Unionization Costs, Template Letter, OPED Legislative Clean Slate, still needs cleanup. Number 2, the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, FCM Connect for October 5th, 8th, and the 13th. Number 3, municipal relations, COVID-19 testing for designated employees, COVID-19 update for municipalities, the reducing of red tape, and improving services act for 2021. Number 4, Manitoba Media Bulletin, Manitobans reminded to comply with aquatic invasive species requirements. Number 5, Minister of Municipal Relations, letter for Honorable Derek Johnson. Number 6, Dauphin and District Community Foundation, the 2021 Spring Grant Request for Conferencing System Upgrade. Number 7, the Brandon Flight Center, the Dauphin Grand Opening. Number 8, Prairie Mountain Health, Health Plus newsletter for October of 2021. Number 9, Prairie Mountain Health Communities Flu Clinics for 2021. Number 10, Tree Canada, tree planting programs and grants. Number 11, Mountain View School Division, the book donation, Tucker Goes to City Hall. And number 12, Mountain View School Division News Digest for October 12th, 2021. And those all recommended by the Deputy Mayor. And the City Manager, any questions or comments?
Just
Yeah,
one.
go ahead, Councillor Bellemare.
For that tree planting with those grants, I was thinking how like maybe under one roof, because those are edible trees that the grants are for. Under one roof and Parkland Crossing might be interested in that. Could that information be sent to them? Thank you.
Councillor Eilers.
Just so you're aware, at the Parkland Crossing, we've planted over 100 fruit trees of everything, apples and stuff. It's in the profile book. So I don't know if they've applied because they've already gotten the grant. It was through Healthy Together and other grants. So there's quite a number, and they're a variety. We've got raspberries and different types of apples, trees that are suitable to our climate, and plum trees and etc. So, and it's right behind the Parkland Crossing where they have the food bank. It's just to the back. And you can see it in the profile book if you look. It's got a picture of it actually.
Perfect. Any other questions? We'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the following corporate report for the October 18th, 2021 regular Council meeting, the report of the City Manager. Take it away, City Manager.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. It's been a couple weeks since our last meeting, and as keeping in the theme of most other weeks, I've had a lot of meetings. A few of them more virtual than what we've been having. I think it's just a function of meeting with people farther away. We are still trending towards in-person meetings when we can. In terms of updates, my regular COVID update, there have been no changes to the provincial health orders since our last meeting, so there will be no changes to city operations. In terms of economic development, our economic development manager position closed on October 12th. There were 6 applicants and interviews will take place this week. Dauphin Economic Development and Tourism Board met on October 5th. With the guidance of our interim chair, Dave Boziak. We reviewed the membership, purpose of the board, and details of future meetings. And we are, we're now, sorry, I said not, but we are now working on terms of reference of the board. And that is something that council will be discussing later on in the meeting. I also can let everybody know that Ember Kuchar is coming back on Friday after an extended leave of absence. We're looking forward to having her back at City Hall. That is our marketing coordinator. Next update is affordable housing. So I have been working again with Dave Boziak in a different capacity. That's in his consultant, with his consultant hat on, to help the City of Dauphin create that program, create a program for the $714,000 that we got from Manitoba Housing to put towards affordable housing in our community. So in the next coming weeks, he's going to be reaching out to some organizations and entities in Dauphin, both ones that have reached out to us initially, as well as some other ones, to help formulate an allocation program. It will first be presented to council for, I guess, high-level approval. Then it's going to go to Manitoba Housing for their approval, and then it'll come back to council for an actual resolution to approve that program. Then we will, I guess, execute the program and get that money into our community. We have resumed meetings with Pine Creek First Nation and Ebb and Flow First Nation with their addition to reserve process. And again, that's the land in between the Highland Motel and McDonald's / Super 8. So the Director of Public Works and I attended a meeting with them. And the city's involvement in the process is with the Municipal Development and Services Agreement. And that's an agreement between our organization and them to outline the manner and the extent to which municipal services are provided for their land. This meeting that we had a couple weeks ago was or I guess 1 week ago, was the first meeting we had in a year. It was October of 2020 when we last met in person. It was good to rekindle the process, and we're working on a 120-day timeline to complete the agreement. There was, from the 2 First Nations, Chief Wayne Desjardins from Ebb and Flow was still there, but we do have a new chief on the Pine Creek side, Derek Niepenak, and he's setting some timelines for us to work towards. So we're looking forward to getting that process further along and completed. And lastly, our municipal emergency plan. So on October 5th, the municipal emergency coordinator and I were involved in the opening of our Emergency Operations Center, or EOC, in response to Manitoba Hydro notifying us that there was a rupture in a natural gas line upstream of Dauphin. We received the call just before 5. Mr. Randy Daly and I met at City Hall. We reviewed the process that is in the municipal emergency plan on how to deal with an interruption of natural gas. We had preliminary discussions with city and rural municipality of Dauphin resources based on the initial information from Manitoba Hydro. However, around 7:30, we luckily got the call from Manitoba Hydro again as an update that there would be enough residual gas in the lines so that Dauphin itself would not see an interruption. And just to fortify that, they did station a tanker of gas in Dauphin to make sure that our system was charged and our hospital specifically continued with gas. So it was good to test that emergency plan, and we were very pleased with the response that we received from our staff. RM of Dauphin and City of Dauphin worked well together through that. So it's good to test our plan when there's not an actual emergency that that results from it. But it's good to see everything working in order. And that concludes my report.
Any questions of the city manager's report? Councillor Stakilo.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. More of just a comment as opposed to a question. Just on the emergency plan, I'm just echoing what you had said, City Manager, in terms of it's nice to be able to test the plan when there's no actual emergency that results for it. So I just want to say thanks for yours as well as the rest of staff's diligence and professionalism in handling the situation and the communication with council. So just an appreciation. So thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Right, I'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that Council accepts this information, the following corporate report for the October 18th, 2021 regular council meeting, that of the Deputy City Manager. Any questions or comments there? No, we'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that the finance accounts, having been examined by council, be hereby authorized and approved as follows. Check totals from 28,737 to 28,810. That is 74 of 552,832 and 12 cents. No voided checks in the current range. Voided checks in the past ranges, though, from September 10th, check number 28619, Trinity Lutheran Church for $36.59. The check was lost by a vendor and it has been reissued. Any questions or comments there? We'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that council accepts as information the unaudited financial statements before PSAB adjustments for the period ending August 2021, including number 1, the general fund balance sheet and general fund income statement, and number 2, utility fund balance sheet and utility fund income statement. Any questions or comments there? Councillor Bellemare.
Okay, thank you. Actually, this is the list of checks. There was a check for Mother Earth Recycling for $16.50, and that's the mattress recycling. So could you explain, the city manager, how mattress recycling works? Because there is a cost to that program. So just so people understand that. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so at our landfill site, we collect mattresses for disposal and recycling. There's a $25 fee to dispose a mattress. Those mattresses are loaded into a 53-foot van trailer that resides on our landfill property. And then it is, when it's full, it's taken to Winnipeg to Mother Earth Recycling, who disassembles the mattresses and recycles the components of the mattresses. The fee that we charge covers the cost of them taking the product as well as the trucking and the freight charges. So it's a zero balance in the end. It's about $16 per mattress to recycle, and then the $9 for freight. So.
And something to note is it's really important to recycle a mattress. It never gets compacted in the landfill. It just stays its size. So by recycling that, it's good good to recycle things, but B, the life of our landfill is extended because we don't have those bulky mattresses in them.
And it's good to have a place for recycled products to go because some things can't be recycled because there's no place to accept them. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Stakilo, seconded by Councillor Eilers. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the reserve report for August of 2021. Any questions or comments regarding that report? And seeing none, I'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Stakilo, seconded by Councillor Eilers. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the budget variance analysis for August 2021. Any questions or comments there? Yes, Councillor Bellemare.
Yeah, I see on that the geotechnical report on Mountain Road wasn't completed. So I was just wondering what that report was all about, what we're hoping to get out of that report.
So the plan for that report was to put out a package to get an investigation done as to what's causing the grade failures. So the soft road, the soft spots in the road when in the spring thaws. Groundwater is a known issue, but until we do an investigation, there's no, we can't come up with a full plan to address that groundwater. It didn't happen this summer just due to workload and staffing shortages. It didn't get completed. So the plan will be to have it completed in the spring, have investigation work happen in the summertime with a design produced to look at potential reconstruction in 2023 if it's deemed to be required. So,
any other questions or comments? I will call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the following engineering report for the October 18th, 2021 regular Council meeting, that of the Director of Public Works and Operations. Any questions or comments regarding that report? Mike, just briefly, because I was talking to you earlier today, there's some action at the Lagoon this week. If you want to make a quick comment on that. I don't, you might not know, but like, what's the schedule look like for the week for those guys? Or?
So this week we are replacing valves within the Lagoon and on the force main from lift station 1 to the Lagoon. Today, divers were on site to plug the valve or plug the tubes to and the force main piping to allow us to shut down the lift station and replace the valve on that force main. Prior to shutdown this morning, Assiniboine Injections it is on site with some very large pumps. So they're pumping our wastewater in the community overland through tubes to the Lagoon road. I believe that's 144 North will be closed. This is closed or currently and will be closed the majority of the week while this work is ongoing, but we're expecting it to be completed by Friday or Saturday. So
perfect. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the following staff report for the October 18th regular Council meeting, that of the building inspector for September of 2021. Any questions or comments there? I'll call the questions then. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the following protective services report for the October 18th regular Council meeting for animal control for September 2021. Any questions or comments regarding that report? Seeing none, I'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Councillor Eilers.
It's just I was very surprised to see the number of skunks that we had in our community, considering the type of garbage setup we have in our community. And I see we also had raccoons as well, but I was amazed at having the 8 skunks through our community. You could smell it at times. And I wonder if it's their 7-year cycle, because I was at 2 communities. One was Roblin, and the other one was Gilbert Plains. And there were skunks that were killed. One was right in the community and stuff. So I guess they've reached their 7-year high. This is very unusual if you look at the other ones, or I see it as unusual. So anyway, it's nice to see they're out of our community and well taken care of. It's nothing like a skunk to perfume the air.
I didn't see any, maybe I missed it, but there was no comments on the moose that was in town there. It was like a week ago. There, I saw pictures all over the internet about it, but Councillor Juba, you have a question?
Well, you stole my thunder. I was sitting here quiet the whole meeting. I was going to talk about
Sorry.
Loose right in my neighborhood. At least it wasn't a fire or a break-in. But I drove to Winnipeg early this morning, and there's skunks all over the place. So they're on the move now. So all the way from Dauphin to Winnipeg, the sweet smell of skunks. So it's not just in here in Dauphin. But
All right. I wouldn't necessarily call it the sweet smell, but yeah, they're on the move. That's for sure. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the following protective services report for the October 18th regular Council meeting, bylaw enforcement for September of 2021. Any questions or comments there? Go ahead, Councillor Eilers.
I was, when I looked at this, I was really surprised at the number of notices, 191 for weeds and grass, trees and shrubs. And it was, I guess, what I was looking at is, I guess they followed through, because actually the DR was only sent to 2, if I'm reading this right. So I guess the warnings help to make sure that our communities kept, and it was quite problematic because of our weather conditions as well. There was a period where I didn't cut my grass for 4 weeks and it barely grew. So anyway, but it's nice to see that this is being activated and active enforcement of to make sure that the neighbors surrounding are looked after. I know I used to get a lot of phone calls from different people saying that there was yards that were, not looked after, and it was infestation of their yard. So this is good to see. All my regards to the Conrad for enforcing these things.
Any other questions or comments? Councillor Juba, your hand's up. Do you have a comment or question? Okay, we'll assume he does not have a question or comment. Go ahead. Technical difficulties. I'll call the questions then. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Eilers. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the minutes from the following committee meetings: Dauphin Rec Services regular board meeting from August 25th and September 29th of this year, and the Dauphin Public Library regular board meeting for October 12th. 2021. Any questions or comments there? Call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it whereas a vacancy was created on City of Dauphin Council due to the passing of Mayor Alan Dauphin on September 21st, 2021. And whereas Section 105(1) of the Municipal Act states in part that when a vacancy on council occurs greater than 12 months before a general election, a council must hold a by-election to fill the vacancy on the council. And whereas on September 16th, 2021, Manitoba Municipal Relations issued bulletin number 2021-49, temporary suspension of local electoral provisions, indicating that order in council number 318-2021 of the Emergency Measures Act provides that for vacancies on council occurring greater than 12 months before a general election, a council can pass a resolution requesting ministerial approval to not hold a by-election due to public health concerns related to the COVID-19 pandemic. And whereas at their regular meeting of October 4th, 2021, Council passed resolution number 2021-538 requesting ministerial approval to not hold a by-election due to public health concerns related to the COVID-19 pandemic. Be it resolved that Council accepts this information correspondence dated October 15th, 2021 from the Minister of Municipal Relations, noting the City of Dauphin's request to forego a municipal by-election to fill the current council vacancy due to the public health concerns related to the COVID-19 pandemic meets all the requirements as set out in the order, allowing the temporary suspension of local election provisions and advising that this request is approved. Any questions or comments? I'll call the questions. I'll call for this to be a recorded vote. Those in favor? And those opposed? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Eiler, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that Council accepts this information correspondence dated October 13th, 2021 from the Dauphin Recreation Services Operations Manager requesting a letter of support for their application to Tree Canada for funding to plant 50 trees at Vermilion Park and along city boulevards to replace trees lost to Dutch elm disease. Further, be it resolved that Council supports the replenishing of trees lost to Dutch elm disease and authorizes administration to provide a letter supporting Dauphin Recreation Services in their application to Tree Canada for funding to replace 50 trees in Dauphin. Any questions or comments? Councillor Eilers.
Yes, we have really lost a lot of trees in our community, over 200 trees this year. A lot are in Vermilion Park, and if we're going to keep this park where people enjoy going into shaded areas and also to keep, I think this is one active way to deal with climate change. The more trees we have, the better it is for controlling the temperature in our community. Plus, it offers a lot of other variety of things, including cleaning the air of pollutants. So I think this is really important, and I'm glad to see that. That was on our Communities in Bloom that we had. We try to replace 50 trees every year, and hopefully we can do more next year.
Any other questions or comments? Fully agree with what Councillor Eilers had to say. I'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that Council accepts this information correspondence dated October 12th, 2021 from Rachel Sador, Chief Administrative Officer for Canada's National Ukrainian Festival, requesting a letter supporting CNUF's application for a Building Communities Through Arts and Heritage Grant to fund costs associated with providing live music, dance, and cultural demonstrations at Canada's National Ukrainian Festival in 2022. Further, be it resolved that Council appreciates Canada's National Ukrainian Festival for their work in bringing Ukrainian entertainment to Dauphin and for keeping Ukrainian culture alive in our community, and authorizes administration to provide a letter supporting CNUF's application for a Building Communities Through Arts and Heritage Grant to assist with costs associated with their 2022 festival. Any comments or questions? We'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Juba. Be it resolved that with regret, Council accepts this information correspondence dated October 18th, 2021 from Councillor Carrie Reel, tendering her resignation from the Council of the City of Dauphin, provided to the City Manager as per Section 104(1) of the Municipal Act, Further be it resolved that the resignation is effective immediately as noted in the correspondence and as noted in section 104(2) of the Municipal Act. Any questions or comments? I'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Councillor Bellemare, whereas a vacancy was created on City of Dauphin Council due to the resignation of Councillor Kerry Reel on October 18th, 2021. And whereas Section 105(1) of the Municipal Act states in part that when a vacancy on council occurs greater than 12 months before a general election, a council must hold a by-election to fill the vacancy on the council. And whereas on or about September 16th, 2021, Manitoba Municipal Relations issued bulletin number 2021-49, temporary suspension of local election provisions, indicating that order in council number 318-2021 of the Emergency Measures Act provides that for vacancies on council occurring greater than 12 months before a general election, a council can request ministerial approval to not hold a by-election due to public health concerns related to the COVID-19 pandemic. Be it resolved that according to Manitoba Municipal Relations Bulletin number 2021-49, temporary suspension of local election provisions, Council of the City of Dauphin requests ministerial approval to not hold a by-election for the vacancy created by the resignation of Councillor Kerry Reel due to public health concerns related to the COVID-19 pandemic. Any questions or comments? I'll call for this to be a recorded vote. Those in favor? And those opposed? Thank you. Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Councillor Sticilo. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the invitations and community events listed below. Invitations, Manitoba Métis Federation's grand opening. It's a re-invitation for October 19th. That's tomorrow. I'll be attending. Excited for that. Number 2 under invitations, the Association of Manitoba Municipalities meeting RCMP at the 2021 AMM convention. That's happening November 22nd and 23rd this year. And just one community event, the Manitoba Métis Federation's Halloween extravaganza, October 29th, 2021. Any questions or comments regarding those invitations and events? Seeing none, I'll call them. Those in favor? Motion carried. Councillor privileges. Started on my right last time, so we'll start on my left this time. Councillor Sticilo, take her away.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. Short report for myself for the past 2 weeks. Was here for the regular council meeting on October 4th. And the following day, as the city manager mentioned, there was an economic development meeting. It had been quite some time since we had held a meeting, so it was good to get back at it, especially with the vacancy of the economic development manager. A little bit of discussion and direction was talked about on how the board will proceed, as well as just a little bit of discussion on the economic development department itself. So more things to come on that, but it's good to get back working on that and fill that void that has been in the community for a few months now. So that ends my report. That is all.
Thank you, Councillor Sticilo. Councillor Eilers.
Thank you. October 4th, I attended the city wellness meeting, and that was followed by the city council meeting. On October the 6th, we had CIB webinars, and there was 2 really good ones. Streets for Everyone, ways to encourage walking and cycling. And I learned that one of the shortfalls is not having enough room for them, meaning that people cannot pass very freely when they're walking or cycling. So that's something to take a look. And they gave some really good examples of how they've managed to create a better walking and cycling paths. There was two extreme gentlemen who have worked on it for a long time. So it was really good to hear and see some really creative ideas. And they also had on city beautification and development, and there were some really good examples. And I'll be sharing that with our committee. We have a meeting this Thursday. And happy belated Thanksgiving to everyone. I think we kind of missed that in our last meeting. And we do have a lot to be thankful for. October 14th, Employee Relations Committee, and I continue to work on the CIB documents. I've been asked to come back because some of the flowers have just blossomed in the last, better than what we had in summer, so that was nice. And I'm very thankful for the rain. I think that really helped our community in many ways, and it was nice to actually enjoy the rain. It was much needed in our community. I would like to offer condolences to Richard Bayette's family and friends. He contributed to many of our local events. He volunteered his time freely. Most notably, the Dauphin Ag Society. He's a lifelong member. He was always involved in the street fair and the street dance. He was always there to set up in the morning and to take down in the evening. So, and there's many other events that he was a part of, and he will be missed. He was very well liked and just always had a smile on his face. So, my condolences to the family, and that ends my report.
Thank you, Councillor Eilers. Councillor Bellemare.
Thank you. I have a short report as well. October 14th, I attended the Employees Relation Committee, and we're discussing some current staffing needs and community events. I'm wishing everyone a safe Halloween. That's coming up before our next meeting. And this, of course, is our second year where we're planning a different event. There are lots of decorations up already, including a headless horseman on 8th Southeast. That's worth checking out. And the Rotary Book Sale will be taking place the first week of November, starting on that Wednesday. So what's new this year is that it will be held at under one roof from 10 till 7 each day. So there's great possibilities there for winter reading and for Christmas shopping. So I know people will be wanting to gather books to donate. Some kudos. I've been having a great experience shopping locally for several items. I've got some new paint, a new bedroom blind, some Halloween treats, coffee at the drive-thru. I just want to thank everyone for the great service that I've been getting. By the way, I've also been reading about all kinds of supply chain issues and the possibilities that some items will not be available for Christmas delivery. So I'm going to give you some shopping advice. Shop early and shop local, of course. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Councillor Bellemare. Councillor Juba. Just turn your mic on, Councillor Juba. There you go.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Okay. Are you right? Can you hear me now?
You betcha. Take her away.
As I was trying to say, my report is kind of short this week, this time around. I attended the regular council meeting at City Hall on October the 4th. October 14th, I attended the Dauphin Chamber of Commerce meeting via Zoom. At that meeting, we had a brief unveiling of the new chamber banner. The new branding started today. Now they are referred to as the Parkland Chamber of Commerce. Their new banner is on display here at City Hall. Also, it's wants to invite the public to make sure they read tomorrow's edition of the Dauphin Herald. There's going to be some advertising and some information from the Chamber of Commerce. They're got a full page ad or three-quarter page ad, I believe, to announce their new changes. It's also Small Business Appreciation Week, and I encourage all people to please support our local businesses. Our local businesses need support, and continue listening to radio station CKDM. Also this week, I do believe Steve Chakota and or other members of the Chamber of Commerce are going to be on the air with Al Gaines to discuss different other changes that are coming this fall with the Chamber. So a lot of exciting things, and well done to Stephen Chakota and their committee for doing the rebranding. I know it was taking them quite some time to do it, but they got down to it and they really done a great job. And I think the repurposing and rebranding will give the Chambers of Commerce or the Chamber of Commerce an added advantage, not only in our local community, but in the surrounding communities. So kudos to the Chambers for coming out of COVID and working hard to stay keep viable in our communities. In the community, I had a Toastmasters meeting, and I also had a very productive, or was part of a very productive Habitat for Humanity meeting the other night. We're one step closer to making a very huge announcement. We hired our site manager, and our site manager is going to be, he was the last key in the long process to get the build underway. And in the next little while, he'll be knocking on the doors of City Hall to get permits, and so those permits are imminent. And just kudos to the rest of the Habitat for Humanity Committee for hanging in there for so long. It's been a while, but we've raised a substantial amount of money, and they'll be looking for more donations as the build is not officially announced yet. But once it's announced, we'll be going to the community asking for some donations to complete the project. And I also want to offer to the Bayette family my condolences. I've known Richard for a long time. I've known his family also. And as Councillor Eilers mentioned, he was instrumental with the Ag Society and a lot of other events in our community. And Mr. Deputy Mayor, that's my report.
Thank you, Councillor Juba. My report, like many other councillors, is quite short this week. On October 4th, I attended the regular council meeting here at City Hall. The next day, October 5th, Dauphin Economic Development and Tourism Board meeting here at City Hall. And then the next day, active transportation meeting here again at City Hall. Lots of good discussion in both those meetings. A little later on, about a week later, I attended the employee relations meeting we had here at City Hall. Lots of great discussion there regarding staffing, as Councillor Bellemare had mentioned. That pretty much does it for me when it comes to meetings. Lots of meetings and events though coming up for me. As mentioned, the Michif Daycare on Main Street, that's opening tomorrow at noon. So if you're around, check it out. It's a great building. And as a few of the councillors have mentioned, I too also want to send condolences to Richard Bayette's family. I knew Richard really well through the Dauphin Kings. He was a very long time season ticket holder, and as Councillor Eilers mentioned, a key piece to the community. With that being said, that is my report. Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Be it resolved that the council meeting be recessed at 6:50.